"This medal represents my lifetime of victories over dozens of species," he said quietly. "I earned it by proving that Vorthan military doctrine was superior to all others." He held the medal out toward Lisa. "Today, you have proven that my understanding of warfare was incomplete. This belongs to the superior warrior." Lisa looked at the medal for a long moment, then shook her head. "I don't want your medal, General. I want your respect. I want you to understand that humans don't fight to prove we're better than other species. We fight to protect what we love and to stand beside our allies as equals." She gently pushed his hand back toward his chest. "Keep your medal, but remember what you learned today. The galaxy doesn't need one species to be superior to all others. It needs all species to contribute their unique strengths to the common defense." General Krex stared at the medal in his hand, then slowly pinned it back to his chest. "I will revise my doctrine," he said solemnly. "Human tactical adaptability will be recognized as a crucial factor in military planning. And I will recommend that all galactic military academies begin teaching courses on unconventional warfare methods." Director Voss stepped into the arena, his forearms spread wide in a gesture of amazement. "Cadet Martinez, in my 40 years at this academy, I have never witnessed anything like what happened here today. I am prepared to offer you early graduation and assignment to any military unit you choose." Lisa looked around the arena at the faces watching her. Alien cadets who had laughed at humans that morning were now looking at her with respect and wariness. Human cadets who had been ashamed of their species were standing straighter, their heads held high. "I'll accept graduation, Director, but I want assignment to a mixed species." Lisa Martinez stood at the metal window of the spaceship and looked down at the alien city below. The buildings were huge and strange, nothing like anything on Earth. They twisted up into the sky like giant metal trees, and bright lights moved between them like fireflies. She had never seen anything so big or so different from home. 3 months ago, the aliens had sent Earth a message. They called themselves the Galactic Combat Council, and they ruled most of the galaxy. The message was simple but scary. Earth could send one person to fight their best warrior. If the human won, Earth would be welcome to join the other planets as equals. If the human lost, Earth would be cut off from the stars forever. No trade, no travel, no contact. Earth would be alone. Lisa pressed her face closer to the window. She could see the arena now, a massive circle of metal and stone that could hold hundreds of thousands of people. Tiny dots moved around it like ants. Those dots were aliens from dozens of different worlds, all coming to watch a human fight and probably die. The other humans on the ship were quiet. Captain Jake Morrison sat at a table nearby, checking his notes for the 100th time. Lieutenant Amy Foster was cleaning her rifle even though it was already perfect. They were all scared, but they were trying not to show it. Lisa was scared, too, but she was also angry. The aliens thought humans were weak. They thought Earth was nothing special. They were wrong. Lisa had been a soldier for 8 years. She had fought in 3 different wars and trained with weapons most people had never even heard of. She could hit a target from a mile away and could survive in any environment. But none of that mattered now. The aliens had rules for their combat. And those rules were simple. 1 person, 1 weapon, 1 chance. The alien they called Vexstar the Destroyer was waiting for her down there. Lisa had watched videos of his fights. He was 9 feet tall and covered in natural armor that looked like it was made of black metal. He had 4 arms that ended in claws sharp enough to cut through steel. He had never lost a fight in 20 years. Not once. Jake Morrison stood up and walked over to her. He was her oldest friend in the military, and he had volunteered to come with her to this alien world. His job was to make sure she was ready for the fight, but Lisa could see the worry in his eyes. "You ready for this, Lisa?" he asked. She turned away from the window. "I've been ready since the day they chose me." "The aliens think this is going to be easy," Jake said. "They've been laughing at us for months. A human woman against their greatest warrior. They think it's a joke." Lisa smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Let them laugh. They don't know what humans can do." The spaceship shook slightly as it landed at the arena. Lisa could hear the noise from outside now, thousands of alien voices making sounds she could not understand. Some of them sounded like growling, others sounded like singing. All of them sounded excited. Amy Foster walked over with Lisa's weapon. It was a plasma rifle, the most advanced gun Earth had ever made. It could fire bursts of energy hot enough to melt metal. Lisa had trained with it for 6 months, learning every part of it, every setting, every weakness. She knew it better than she knew her own heartbeat. "The power cell is fully charged," Amy said. "You have enough energy for about 50 shots. Make them count." Lisa took the rifle and checked it one more time. The weight felt good in her hands. She had carried weapons like this through jungles and deserts, through cities and mountains. This rifle was just another tool, and she was very good with tools. The ship's door opened with a hiss and alien air rushed in. It smelled strange, like metal and something else she could not name. 3 aliens in fancy clothes were waiting outside. They were tall and thin, with blue skin and eyes like black mirrors. One of them spoke, and Lisa heard the words through her translator earpiece. "Human warrior, you will come with us. The arena waits." Lisa looked back at Jake and Amy. They both nodded. There was nothing more to say? Lisa had trained for this moment her whole life, even if she had not known it. Every fight, every mission, every late night in the training room had led to this. She walked down the ramp and into the alien world. The air was thick and warm, and the gravity was slightly heavier than Earth's. The alien city stretched out in all directions, full of lights and sounds and smells she had never experienced before. But Lisa did not look around. She kept her eyes forward. On the arena. The aliens led her through a tunnel that went under the arena. She could hear the crowd above her, stamping their feet and making noise. The sound was like thunder that never stopped. Some of them were cheering, but Lisa knew they were not cheering for her. They were cheering for the fight itself, for the show they were about to see. The tunnel opened into a small room with metal walls and a single chair. This was where she would wait until the fight began. One of the aliens handed her a device that looked like a small computer. "These are the rules," the alien said. "You have 10 minutes to read them. Then you will enter the arena." Lisa took the device and sat down. The rules were simple. 2 fighters, 1 arena, no help from anyone else. The fight would continue until one fighter could not continue. There were no other rules. No time limits, no mercy, no second chances. She set the device aside and closed her eyes. In her mind, she went through her training one more time. Every move, every technique, every trick she had learned. She thought about her brother Danny back on Earth, about her parents, about all the people counting on her. She thought about the aliens laughing at humanity, thinking they were weak. When she opened her eyes, she was ready. The alien came back and gestured toward another tunnel. "It is time, human. The arena waits for you." Lisa stood up and checked her rifle one final time. She walked toward the tunnel, toward the light at the end where the arena waited. Behind her, she could hear Jake's voice on her radio. "Good luck, Lisa. Show them what humans can do." She stepped into the light and the crowd went wild. Lisa walked out of the tunnel and into the biggest space she had ever seen. The arena was enormous, bigger than 10 football fields put together. The floor was made of dark metal that reflected the bright lights hanging from the ceiling. Around her, rising up like a mountain, were seats filled with aliens. There were so many different kinds of aliens that Lisa could not count them all. Some looked like giant insects with wings that sparkled in the light. Others had fur and teeth, like wolves but walked on 2 legs. There were beings made of what looked like living rock, and others that seemed to be made of pure energy. All of them were staring at her. The noise was incredible. Thousands of voices making sounds she had never heard before. Some were roaring, some were clicking, some were making musical notes, but Lisa could tell they were all doing the same thing. They were laughing at her. She looked small in the middle of the huge arena. Her combat suit was black and simple, nothing fancy about it. Her plasma rifle looked tiny compared to the massive space around her. The aliens had expected someone bigger, someone who looked more dangerous. Instead, They got a human woman who barely came up to most of their shoulders. Lisa walked to the center of the arena and stopped. She looked up at the crowd and did not smile. She did not wave. She just stood there, holding her rifle, waiting. The laughter got louder. Then the other gate opened. The sound that came out was like nothing Lisa had ever heard. It was a roar that shook the metal floor under her feet. It was the sound of a predator that had never known fear, never known defeat. The crowd went quiet for a moment, then exploded in cheers. Vexstar the Destroyer stepped into the arena. Lisa had seen pictures of him, but seeing him in person was different. He was huge, at least 9 feet tall and almost as wide. His skin was covered in natural armor that looked like black metal plates. Each plate had scars on it, marks from battles he had won. His forearms were thick with muscle, and his hands ended in claws that curved like knives. His head was shaped like a triangle, with eyes that glowed red in the arena lights. When he opened his mouth, Lisa could see rows of teeth designed for tearing flesh. Everything about him said the same thing: killer. Vexstar looked across the arena at Lisa and made a sound that might have been laughter. To him, she was not a warrior, she was prey. He had fought creatures twice her size and torn them apart with his bare hands. This human would be easy. The crowd loved their champion. They cheered and stamped their feet and made noises of approval. Some of them held up signs with symbols Lisa could not read, but she knew they were cheering for Vexstar to win quickly. A voice spoke from speakers hidden around the arena. It was translated into her language by the device in her ear. Citizens of the galaxy, today you witness the final test of the species called human. Their champion carries primitive weapons against the proven might of our greatest warrior. Lisa looked down at her plasma rifle. Primitive. The aliens thought human technology was primitive. The rifle in her hands could cut through steel, could fire energy blasts hot enough to melt rock. But to these aliens it was just a simple tool. The human fighter is called Lisa Martinez, the voice continued. She represents a young species that has barely left their homeworld. The Korth champion is Vexstar the Destroyer, undefeated in 200 battles across 20 years of combat. 200 battles. Lisa had known the number, but hearing it said out loud made it real. Vexstar had killed 200 opponents. Warriors from dozens of different worlds, all of them stronger and bigger and more experienced than any human. And now he was going to kill her too. Vexstar raised his forearms above his head and let out another roar. The crowd cheered even louder. He was showing off, enjoying the attention. This was what he lived for, not just the fighting, but the spectacle. The fear in his opponent's eyes. The moment when they realized they were going to die. Lisa did not look afraid. She stood in the center of the arena, her rifle ready, her eyes focused on her opponent. She had been in battles before. She had seen death and dealt death. But this was different. This was not just about her. This was about humanity's future among the stars. The voice from the speakers began a countdown. The combat will begin in 60 seconds. Fighters, prepare yourselves. Lisa checked her rifle one more time. The power cell was fully charged. The targeting system was working perfectly. She had 50 shots before the weapon would be useless. She would have to make every shot count. Vexstar dropped to all fours and began to move in a circle around the arena. He was fast, faster than anything. That big should be able to move. His claws clicked against the metal floor as he moved. He was studying her, looking for weaknesses, planning his attack. 30 seconds, the voice announced. Lisa could feel her heart beating in her chest. She took slow, deep breaths, trying to stay calm. Fear would make her slow, make her miss her shots. She could not afford to be afraid. Vexstar stopped moving and crouched down like a cat about to pounce. His red eyes were fixed on her, and she could see intelligence there. He was not just a beast. He was a thinking predator, and he was very good at what he did. 10 seconds. The crowd went quiet. Even the aliens wanted to see exactly how this would begin. Would the human run? Would she freeze in terror? Would she try to surrender before the fight even started? Lisa raised her rifle and pointed it at Vexstar. Her hands were steady, her breathing was controlled. She was ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A horn sounded across the arena, loud and clear. The battle began. Vexstar moved faster than Lisa had expected. He did not run toward her. He leaped, using his powerful legs to launch himself across the arena in a single bound. His forearms spread wide, his claws reaching for her. Lisa fired. The plasma bolt hit Vexstar right in the chest. The energy blast was bright blue and hot enough to melt steel. For a moment, Lisa thought she had won before the fight really started. But the energy just spread across his natural armor like water. On stone, it did not even slow him down. Vexstar landed right where Lisa had been standing a second before. His claws scraped deep grooves in the metal floor. Lisa had rolled to the side just in time, but she could feel the heat from his body as he passed by. He was fast and strong, but he was also big. That made him easier to avoid, at least for now. The crowd roared with excitement. They had seen plasma weapons before, and they knew Korath armor could stop them. This was going to be even easier than they thought. Lisa got back on her feet and fired again. This time she aimed for his head, hoping to find a weak spot. The bolt hit him right between the eyes, but again it just spread across his armor without doing any damage. Vexstar turned toward her and made a sound that was definitely laughter. He charged at her again, but this time he did not leap. He ran on all four arms, moving like a giant spider. Lisa fired 3 more shots as he came toward her. Each one hit him perfectly, but none of them did anything. Her rifle was useless against his natural armor. Lisa jumped backward, trying to keep some distance between them. But Vexstar was learning her moves. He changed direction at the last second and swung one of his arms at her. His claws missed her face by inches. She could feel the air move as they passed by. She rolled again and came up firing. 6 shots. 7, 8. All perfect hits, all useless. The crowd was cheering louder now. They could see what was happening. The human's weapon could not hurt. Their champion. It was only a matter of time. Vexstar was enjoying himself. He could have killed Lisa already, but he was playing with her. He wanted to give the crowd a good show. He wanted to prove that humans were weak, that they did not belong among the stars. He moved slowly now, cutting off her escape routes, forcing her into a corner. Lisa kept firing, but she was running out of room to move. The arena was big, but Vexstar was herding her toward one of the walls. Once she got trapped there, the fight would be over. She had used 20 shots already and had not even scratched him. She tried something different. Instead of aiming for his body, she aimed for the floor around his feet. The plasma bolts melted the metal, creating small holes and rough spots. Maybe she could make him stumble or slip. Vexstar stepped over the holes without any trouble. He was too smart to fall for such a simple trick. He made his laughing sound again and moved closer. Now Lisa was only a few feet from the wall. She had nowhere left to run. The crowd was on their feet now, all of them cheering for the kill. Some of them were making bets on how long it would take. Others were already planning what they would do with Earth once the humans were defeated. Lisa could hear their excitement, their joy at watching her fail. She fired again, aiming for his eyes. The bolt hit perfectly, but it just made his armor glow for a moment before fading away. 35 shots used, 15 left. And still no damage. Vexstar raised all 4 of his arms above his head. This was the killing pose, the move he used to finish his opponents. The crowd went wild. They started chanting something in their language, probably counting down to the moment when he would strike. Lisa looked up at her opponent. 9 feet of muscle and armor and killing instinct. Behind him, she could see thousands of alien faces, all of them happy to watch her die. Above them, she could see the lights that lit the arena, the cameras that were recording everything, the speakers that carried the crowd's cheers. She thought about Earth, about her brother Danny, who was probably watching this on television right now, about Jake Morrison, who was somewhere in the crowd, hoping she would find a way to win, about the billions of people who were counting on her to save them from being cut off from the stars forever. And then Lisa Martinez did something that shocked every being in the arena. She stopped running, she stopped firing, she looked down at her plasma rifle. The weapon she had trained with for months, the most advanced technology Earth had to offer, it was useless. Worse than useless. It was just dead weight. The crowd's cheering got louder. They thought she was giving up. They thought she was about to surrender. Some of them were already celebrating. Lisa made her decision. She dropped her weapon. The plasma rifle hit the metal floor with a loud clang that somehow carried across the entire arena. The sound was so unexpected that even the crowd went quiet for a moment. In 200 battles, no opponent had ever just dropped their weapon. It was not allowed. It was not possible. It was surrender. Vexstar stopped moving. He lowered his arms and stared at the human woman standing in front of him. She had no weapon now. She had no way to fight back. But she was not kneeling. She was not begging for mercy. She was just standing there, looking at him with calm eyes. The crowd did not know what to do. This had never happened before. Some of them started cheering again, thinking the fight was over. Others just stared in confusion. A few of them seemed almost disappointed that it had ended so quickly. Lisa raised her hands in front of her, palms open. She was not reaching for another weapon. She was not trying to run. She was just standing there, waiting. Vexstar tilted his head to the side like a dog trying to understand a new sound. In his language, dropping your weapon meant you were surrendering, but this human did not look like she was surrendering. She looked like she was getting ready to fight. The arena was quieter now than it had been since the battle started. Even the announcer seemed confused. His voice came over the speakers, but he was not sure what to say. The human appears to have, she has dropped her weapon. Lisa smiled. It was not a big smile, and it was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile a person makes when they know something no one else knows. When they have a secret that is about to change everything. She looked up at Vexstar and spoke. Her voice was quiet, but in the silence of the arena, everyone could hear her. 14 seconds, she said. Vexstar did not understand what she meant. Neither did the crowd. Neither did the announcers or the cameras or anyone else watching, but Lisa understood. She had been counting since the moment she dropped her rifle. 14 seconds was how long it would take for everything to change. 13 seconds. Now, 12.11. The crowd started cheering again, but they sounded uncertain. They did not understand what was happening. They had come to see a fight, and instead they were watching a human woman stand perfectly still while their champion waited for orders. 10 seconds. 9. Lisa's smile got a little bigger. 8.7.6. Vex single quotes. Tar decided to end this strange moment. He raised his arms again and stepped forward. The human had surrendered. Now he would finish what he had started. 5.4.3.2.1. Lisa moved. Lisa moved faster than anyone expected. But she did not move toward Vexstar. She moved toward her dropped rifle. In one smooth motion, she grabbed the weapon and twisted it apart with her bare hands. The plasma rifle came apart in 2 pieces, revealing the bright blue power cell inside. Vexstar roared in confusion. The crowd made sounds of surprise. No one understood what the human was doing. Why would she break her own weapon? Why would she make herself even more helpless? Lisa pulled the power cell free from the rifle. It was about the size of a baseball and glowed with stored energy. Enough energy to power 50 plasma shots. Enough energy to do serious damage if it was used the right way. She looked up at the arena walls, studying the lights and the cameras and the barriers that kept the crowd safe from the fighting. Lisa had spent months studying the arena plans. She knew every system, every backup, every weakness. While other humans had focused on fighting techniques, Lisa had focused on understanding the battlefield itself. The power cell was getting hot in her hands. These cells were not meant to be removed while they were charged. They were not meant to be handled without protective equipment, but Lisa had trained for this. She knew exactly how long she had before the cell became too dangerous to hold. Vexstar charged at her again, all 4 arms reaching for her. He was done playing games. The human had destroyed her only weapon. Now he would end this strange fight and claim his victory. Lisa waited until he was almost close enough to touch her. Then she threw the power cell as hard as she could. Not at Vexstar, but at the wall behind him. At a specific spot on the wall where she knew the arena's main power cables ran, the power cell hit the wall and exploded in a burst of blue-white light. The explosion was not big, but it was in exactly the right place. Sparks flew from the wall as the arena's electrical systems overloaded. The lights flickered and went out. For a moment, the arena was completely dark. 200,000 aliens fell silent. They could not see what was happening. They could not understand what the human had done. Emergency lights came on, but they were dim and cast strange shadows across the arena floor. The crowd started making nervous sounds. This was not part of the show. This was not supposed to happen, but Lisa was not done. While everyone was still confused by the darkness, she ran to another part of the arena. She had memorized the layout during her weeks of preparation. She knew where everything was, even in the dark. She reached a panel in the wall and pulled it open with her bare hands. Inside the panel were the controls for the arena's environmental systems: temperature, air pressure, humidity, all the things that made the arena comfortable for the aliens who came to watch the fights. Lisa had studied these systems too. She knew what would happen if she changed the settings. She grabbed handfuls of wires and pulled them out. Sparks flew as the environmental controls went crazy. The arena's computer systems tried to figure out what was wrong, but Lisa had damaged too many connections. The backup systems kicked in, but they were designed for small problems, not for someone who understood exactly how to break them. The temperature in the arena began to drop. Fast, Vexstar felt the change first. His species came from a desert world where the temperature never went below 100 degrees. They needed heat to function properly. As the arena got colder, his movements became slower. His muscles became stiff. His natural armor, which had protected him from plasma fire, now worked against him by trapping the cold against his body. Lisa felt the cold too, but her combat suit was designed for this. It had heating elements built into the fabric, powered by its own small battery. She activated them and felt warm airflow against her skin. The cold was not a problem for her. It was a weapon. The crowd was getting worried now. The lights were still dim, the temperature was dropping, and they could not see what was happening on the arena floor. Some of them started to leave. Others called for security. A few of them seemed to understand that something had gone very wrong. Vexstar tried to charge at Lisa again, but he was moving like he was underwater. The cold was affecting his reflexes, his speed, his coordination. He swung his arms at her, but she easily stepped out of the way. For the first time in the fight, she was faster than he was. Lisa did not try to hurt him. She did not need to. She just kept moving, staying away from his claws while the cold did its work. Every second that passed made him weaker. Every breath he took brought more cold air into his lungs. The arena's announcer was trying to explain what was happening, but his voice sounded confused and scared. She has somehow damaged the arena systems. This is not this is not how combat is supposed to work. Some of the aliens in the crowd were angry. They had come to see a traditional fight, warrior against warrior. Instead, they were watching a human woman run around in the dark while their champion got slower and weaker. This was not honorable. This was not fair, but Lisa did not care about fair. She cared about winning. She cared about saving Earth. She cared about proving that humans could compete with the rest of the galaxy, even if they had to do it in their own way. Vexstar fell to his knees. The cold was too much for him. His forearms shook as he tried to stand up again. His red eyes were dim and his breathing was hard and slow. The greatest warrior in the galaxy was being defeated by cold air. Lisa walked over to him carefully. She was not cruel, and she did not want to hurt him more than necessary. She could see that he was suffering. His body was not designed for this kind of environment. If the temperature kept dropping, he could die. She reached into her suit and pulled out one of her heating elements. It was small and warm, about the size of her hand. She placed it against Vexstar's chest, where his heart would be. The warmth spread through his body, enough to keep him alive, but not enough to let him fight. Vexstar looked up at her with his dim red eyes. For the first time, she saw something other than confidence there. She saw respect, maybe even fear. He had never been defeated before, and he had never met an opponent who fought like this. Lisa stood up and looked around the arena. The crowd was quiet now, waiting to see what would happen next. The emergency lights made everything look strange and scary. But Lisa was not scared. She had done what she came to do. She had won, but winning was only the first step. Now she had to make sure everyone understood what had happened. She had to make sure they knew that humans were not weak. They were just different. They fought with their minds as much as their bodies. They turned disadvantages into advantages. They found ways to win that no one else had thought of. Lisa Martinez had dropped her weapon and won the fight. Now she had to win the peace.